Hello, everyone. I think you can all see me, and I'm really glad to welcome you. My name is Magali Eben. I'm a senior lecturer in competition law here at the University of Glasgow School of Law. And I'm really looking forward to having a chat today with two alumni of the School of Law who will answer some of your questions about their experiences here. And before we start, I think I should tell you that any general questions you have about studying at university, the next steps now that you have an offer and so on, you should check the postgraduate offer holders page, the link to which I think you have or might be posted in the chat. And if you have any particular questions about your own personal offer and situation, admissions will be able to answer those as well. We're here just to generally talk about what doing an LLM with us actually means. So we'll just delve into that for a second. So you'll see that on the university website, there are loads of different options for you to study a master's in law here at the School of Law. And at the stage that you're in now, you might have already decided what you're going to specialize in, or you might still be hesitating between the many different specializations and courses that we offer. So if you do have any particular questions about that, you can go online and peruse every LLM program that we have on the website. But what I want to tell you is that there are so many different specializations that really you should have a think about the particular types of topics that you'd be interested in studying further. And then maybe you can read up a little bit about it. So I, for example, convene the program in International Competition Law and Policy. And just like all the other programs we offer, this program is research-led. That means that no matter which program you decide to choose, you will be taught by the experts in this field. So the competition law program, you will be taught by some of world-leading academics in competition law. If you decide to do human rights, or you want to learn about the international rules that apply to war and peace, or you want to learn more about commercial law or financial markets, all of our programs cater to these different specializations, will all be done by leaders in their field. So if you want to know how to kind of narrow down what you're interested in, or try to figure out, in the programs that you will be choosing, you can look up the people that teach you, and you will find that there are loads of publications that they have written. So it might kind of give you an idea of the LLM programs and what they might be about. So I think that this is enough as an introduction from me, but I'd be very happy to answer any questions you have in a little bit. And it might be useful to bring in our alumni to have a chat with you.
Good afternoon.
Hi there. Hi, both of you. I'll ask you to introduce yourself. So, Giulio, maybe you can start.
Thank you, and good evening or good morning or hi everyone. And I am Giulio. I am a lawyer in Milan in a Milan-based financial law firm, and I had the honor and I'm proud to say I attended the corporate and financial law LLM in 2021-2022, the one after COVID.
All right, Patana.
Hi everyone, my name is Prarthana Dogra. I'm from India, and I did my LLM in corporate and financial law in the year 2022 to 2023. Just got my results in December 2023, and right now I'm working as a motor claims handler in Aviva Insurance, and I'm also actively looking for a PhD, as that's my career path.
All right, great. Thank you both. I think we'll just dive right in with a quite easy question. So maybe you can tell us both why you chose to study at the University of Glasgow, but maybe also why you choose to take the program that you took. So you both were on the corporate and financial law program at different periods of time. So maybe we'll just reverse and start with Pratana. Why did you choose to join us at the university?
Okay, so I would start with the fact that I really liked the resources which were available, not just online but also offline, in terms of the library that we have, the online library that we have. And I really liked the fact that we have so many resources available. Apart from that, one of the biggest reasons why I joined University of Glasgow is, as Magali ma'am has already pointed out, the academics and the kind of professionalism that they bring into the academic, and also the fact that they've been very actively into research, and they are experts in the field. So I really felt that learning from the experts would give me a better view of what I want to do in life, and would make me understand the subjects better. So that was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to join University of Glasgow, and I got lucky.
Great.
I got it.
Julia?
Well, I would say I would go along the same lines and say that I wanted to specialize in a field. Then I understood that I wanted to specialize in this field, in corporate and financial law. And I searched and found out that Glasgow was amongst the best ones in the UK. I think at that point it was the second one in law. Oxford coming third. I don't know if this can be said. And then I have to say I was expecting something, but I didn't know that I would get way more than I was expecting. I got very lucky. I was awarded a scholarship I didn't know I could ask for, and I never asked for the results that I was lucky to have. Then I was offered a position as a research assistant to Professor Sergakis, who's a leader in his field. And then when I came back home, I found out that there were paths, not just in a law firm, but also that I could teach in some universities. And another point, that not having a PhD, I didn't think I would get. Of course, I would. I'm still thinking as well to perhaps in the future get a PhD myself. But for the moment, I think I got way more than I could expect it. So.
Okay, so if I get it right, both of you had an idea already of the kind of program you wanted to do when you looked for where to go. I think for the people that have offers, it's important to note that you can, when you start your program, you can, in the first few weeks, still decide on which program you want to specialize in. But of course, if you know what you want to specialize in, you can see who the people will be that will teach you on that program, and you'll get an idea of quite how good they are in their field. I don't think it's bragging to say that I think pretty much every LLM program we do really have some of the highest quality academics that you can find. I'm really proud of my colleagues for that. But if you start and you're not quite sure what you want to do yet, have a look at the different programs, and you can narrow it down online. So, okay, maybe you can tell me what kind of your favorite course was, or your favorite thing about the program that you chose. Julia, do you want to start?
I think I would go with financial markets, capital markets, and financial regulation, taught by at that point Professor Sergakis and Dr. Javier Solana.
All right. Okay. And Patana, what about you?
I'm a bit torn between two subjects. I really enjoyed capital markets, again taught by Dr. Konstantinos. He's one of my most favorite professors, to be honest, and the best teacher I've ever learned from till today. And second would be corporate finance, which was taught by Dr. Chi Zhang. He was also my supervisor in my dissertation, and he is truly a guiding light for even my PhD project.
I will pass that on. All right.
Thank you.
So, okay, you guys, you both did a similar program, and you seem to have shared favorites here. So, but then you have 6 courses throughout the year, and this was the case when you did it, and it's still the case, 3 in each semester. But of course, in your second semester, after you have had your exams, you have to write a dissertation. Would you be able to tell me a little bit about how you found that experience, and what topic you chose, Prathana?
So my topic was about the ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance related topic, which had to be. I tried to integrate that into the business and how ESG rules and regulations are taken ahead, and the kind of help that I received not just from my supervisor, Dr. Chi Zhang, it was commendable. Apart from that, there was so much help from the university. There were proper lectures which took place by Annie ma'am, and she also took us through right from the way we are supposed to write the dissertation to the kind of bibliographies expected out of us, the font, the minutest details, to be honest. And apart from those lectures, we had the recording of that lecture. We could also ask questions. It was anyway, the that whole program was very, very detailed, and apart from that, we also had slides available from the same program, and Annie ma'am and all the other people from LLM were always there to help us if there were any questions. They were really prompt whenever we had to write a mail to them, and they were extremely prompt, to be honest, in the last 15 days, because they knew that right now is the time when the students are writing and they are into their focus, and they should not be bothered about little things. So we had help like I could not have imagined. And that had really helped me with my dissertation, because I was not worried about what are the small things, the small details that I have to take care of. I was basically concentrated on my topic. And anyway, the topic is a bit of niche. I did not find too much research. So that was another thing which was going in my mind, that, oh my God, this is something, I may not be able to achieve. But with Dr. Chizang's help and his guidance, I got A5 in my dissertation. So I'm very proud of having studied from University of Glasgow, and very lucky to have all these professors and teachers to be, who became a part of my journey.
Had you done a dissertation before, or was this a kind of thing that was new to you?
It was the first time. I did my law from India and I passed out in the year 2013. So back then there was no dissertation for the undergraduation, but I think they've introduced it now. In many universities it's getting done, but when I passed out, I did not have any dissertation to write.
What about you, Julia? Was that the first time you wrote a dissertation, or had you done something similar before?
No, it wasn't the first time. In Italy, I had to submit quite a long dissertation of 300 pages. But that was another point, another challenging point. I used to think that the longest that length was something, and in fact, in the UK it is, but in the exact opposite way I used to think about. And so writing the dissertation was also a thrilling experience, because I had to summarize and make be short and effective, which is something that I hadn't been taught in Italy. Be effective, but long, if you will. In the case of the UK, I had to adapt to a different way of thinking and modus operandi, if you will. And plus, my dissertation writing period was also overlapping with the research assistance, and so it was some period, and I wish I could go back there.
I think it's an interesting point to pick up on, because anyone who holds an offer might be from a completely different place in the world. It's a very international cohort, so you'll have people from all around the world, which means also from completely different kind of teaching styles and academic environments. So where I originally come from, in continental Europe, in Belgium, a lot of the focus of my first law degree was on memorize, and your professor is God. If your professor said something, it must be correct. When I first came to the UK for my LLM, I realized my professor is not God. They want us to criticize, they want us to reflect, and they want us to keep things short as opposed to a 300-page dissertation. This isn't just a thing with dissertations, it's also really ingrained in the way we teach and the way we assess on exams and essays and so on. Did either of you find that challenging? Atana, is this different from what you were used to before?
Yes, so in India, things are a bit different. Although my university, Symbiosis International University, does have almost the same kind of way of checking answers and the question paper and everything. But I do have to say that here in Glasgow University, the professors, they push us to think out of the box. They push us to think about what could be the possible criticism, and if you could come up with better solutions. So I remember asking this question to Dr. Constantinos, that what if when I'm writing, so by the time you're done, you're finishing your assignment, at the time of conclusion you do feel that okay, that this could be a solution. So I did ask him that, can I suggest something? He said, we do it all the time in academics, so can you? It totally depends on if somebody wants to take it or not. So I did suggest some solutions to what was asked in the question, and that really helped me think better and understand the topics better. So yes, that's one thing which is different as to what we have studied in undergraduate. But I think that's also something to do with the fact that now we in undergraduation we studied a plethora of subjects, and now it becomes really narrowed down when we are doing something so specialized as masters of law. So both things are at play. But yes, the professors here, they always ask us to think more about it, think out of the box, and try to relate more things. It was so for us, I think I can speak for Julio as well, that it was not just corporate and financial law we were supposed to think. We were also supposed to think about the tax purposes, what kind of effect it would have on corporate on copyright and digital market and all of that. So it was a complete experience.
Yeah. What about you, Julio? Any
Yes.
kind of reflections?
Well, coming from a European perspective, yes, I do share the point. I do share the view that our professors are usually gods, something which is not the case in the UK, and that allows us in the UK to harvest, if you will, critical thinking, which is something that usually we do not do. I don't know if our viewers are familiar with the expression the jure condendo and the jure condito. We speak about just the jure condito, just about the law as it is, not the jure condendo, not as it should be, or we do not identify or target loopholes and then start to think about, start to elaborate about them. We do not do it. We do it in the UK. And as far as a difference that I also noticed that I think wasn't mentioned thus far was the fact of coming to class prepared. In Italy, we usually came to class in order to be taught, not to discuss. We didn't have any essay to submit, and so we had much more time, I have to say, to think about the exams or think about what we were actually being taught. Because as far as my university was concerned, we used to. I hope they know they're not listening. We used to be taught for several months, and then we used to prepare for the exams. So the idea of actually having some critical thinking about what we were taught in that moment wasn't crossing our mind. And if you come to class prepared, that means that you have a certain amount of pages to read for the next week, and then come there and discuss something that you barely know. That means that you have to study harder, quicker, and you inevitably that inevitably involves identifying the most important things. Reports. I never read any report in my life before coming to the UK. Then I understood that report was everything, and reports were everything, and so I would say this is another philosophical differences, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who teaches, so my experience with this is quite interesting. So I think, and this is my view, and if you disagree with me, you can tell me, both of you, that this first semester is a challenge for most students because they have to get used to very often a completely different way of preparing for classes. So if I take my program as an example, so the International Competition Law and Policy program, the first semester are courses with a bigger amount of students where we really try to give all the foundational concepts. And so technically these are lectures, but in practice, I don't hesitate to ask anyone in class, you know, you had to do this reading. Can you tell me what you think about it? Do you agree with what I'm saying? And you can tell that in the first semester, this scares students because that means they don't necessarily have to do every single page of reading for a class, but they need to have gone through the reading and understand the gist of it. And that's very different from sitting in class and just listening to what we say. So that's a challenge. But by the second semester, I feel like students are used to it, right? And so they have understood that the best way of studying is to prepare for each class. So by the end of it, you understand things. I think understanding what you have been taught is more important than just learning things by heart. So did either of you feel that semester one was horrible, but by semester two, you were completely on the ball?
Yes,
Yeah.
completely. But for me, the reason was not because I was not reading. The reason was that I was not able to understand what's actually expected in my answers. So, and I used to get really nervous and scared, and I would think that no, I've not written nicely and I've not done a good job. So that was the only challenge I felt. And honestly, this was the first time that I was away from my family. I'm very close to them, so that was another thing that I kept on missing them. But by the second semester, I kind of grew more familiar with what's expected out of us, and I really liked the fact that we had to first study and then discuss, because I think that's how when you go higher up in the academic, that's how things become, because it's not about teaching like coming with pen and paper and then dictating things. It's about discussing, it's about getting more ideas, and I think that's what law is about. The more you discuss, the more solutions you get. So the ethos of university and the way of teaching is completely bang on point with that.
All right.
Plus, by the time you get to the second semester, you actually start to understand Scottish accent. I want to reassure everyone listening. I barely had the opportunity to speak with a taxi driver that took me to in Glasgow airport and took me to my accommodation. I didn't understand a word. I wasn't understanding a word. I spent 3 months not understanding a word, but then in the law firm, whenever there is something Scottish, I am summoned. So
Yes, the Scottish accent is a beautiful, sometimes challenging accent. And interestingly, you won't just have to deal with Scottish accents, you'll have to deal with worldwide accents, because if you come to the university, your professors, your lecturers come from worldwide. So you'll have a bit of everything. But I think that represents a very good view of what working internationally would be like, dealing with different accents, different cultures, different styles. So I think it's quite good. One thing I would say is, if you are watching this and you're a bit scared or a bit daunted about this idea that you'd have to speak up in class, I think it's a relatively quite nice environment. And very often we don't really mind if you give a wrong answer. As I say to my students, I have advanced courses in the second semester where we talk about competition law and democracy, or competition law and sustainability, or gender diversity, things like that. I tell them, I want you to come into this course confused and leave even more confused, because that means you're finally thinking about it, right? And I think this is one of the things that in the School of Law we find important, for you to start thinking about this received wisdom, the law that you have been given after your undergraduate. Is it correct? Is it the best way for the world to work, for our societies to flourish? So there usually isn't one correct answer. And once you accept that, I think it gives you a lot of freedom to be creative. Okay. Let's move on to something else. Whilst you were at the university, Julia, you said you did some research assistance work. How did that go? Did you find that that was a good opportunity? Was it challenging?
It was an enormous opportunity. It was the first time I had the opportunity to work in an academic environment, and plus I was given much liberty in handling in how to handle the work, the job and the tasks that I was given. It came by surprise. As you mentioned, the first semester is always the most daunting one. But as far as I'm concerned, it was also it was the one when I was less prepared for, and it was also the most the one that gave the most. And after the results came, after some months, Professor Sergakis, who was one of my teachers, one of my professors, asked me and another student to be his research assistants. And we, after the second semester was over, we gathered, we were given indications, and then we started to work. And that turned out to be philosophically a very challenging thing to do, and also professionally a very consequential thing to do. It was my gate to the academic world, as far as not as a student, but as the opposite, as the opposite on the opposite side, and also in the law firm. After that, I immediately started to work in this law firm where I am still now, and so I can say that was a gate.
Perfect. I think research assistants also provide very valuable help to us, so it goes both ways. Latana, did you do any extracurriculars? Do you participate in any student activities? Anything interesting you did besides go to class?
Yes, so I did become a part of something called as the speaking group, which is one of the groups by the student research. I'm sorry, I'm not. Am I getting the full form right or not? But it's SRC that we have. So they are basically the ones who represent students, and they have tons of activities and many societies that people can join according to their own interest. So I was part of the speaking group, in which every Tuesday we used to get together and we all used to speak and talk about almost anything that we wanted, share our experiences and how we are finding it here and how is it surviving in Glasgow away from family. And then I became a part of this trade related conference, which was organized by Dr. Henry Lowat as a mark of celebrating the tercentenary Adam Smith's school's tercentenary event. And I was a scribe, and there was another fellow scribe. So that was one of the biggest experiences I had out of School of Law. I met a lot of people, and that was really great for me. I met professors from Cambridge and professor from University of Toronto, people from the firms in UK and also in the England part and the Scottish part. Some people from the Scottish government were also there, and it was a very good experience. We were talking to everyone, and actually, to be honest, those some of those professors were also people who gave me some important tips for my PhD proposal. So I cannot thank them enough.
That's great. I mean, the university has a lot of employability
Yeah.
opportunities, meaning there are there's a dedicated group that will help you, um, tell you what kind of job opportunities there are. But in addition to that, actually, a lot of the things that happen as part of the curriculum or as part of the university activities can be very good to build, your CV, your portfolio. So there are collaborative dissertations, for example, where you could choose to do a dissertation with a organization participating, a real world organization, an industry or an NGO, or you could go to these conferences like you guys went to and help with those and meet people from industry. Different areas have this different things. So if you come to a particular LLM specialism, you'll see that there are often research centers associated with it. So for example, for competition law or for intellectual property, we have the Create Research Center, and they do a lot of events that you can get involved in as a student. So a lot of opportunities. To everybody watching, feel free to put as many comments as you want in the chat. Nothing is off limits, just ask us and we'll see if we can give you an answer. And whilst you think about your questions, so feel free to put them in the chat, I'm curious if you could say one thing that was your favorite thing, either about the program or Glasgow or just generally your experience, what would it be? Your favorite thing? Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll break the ice with a personal statement. I got to know my partner.
Oh, romance at the university. See, I like that. I mean, everybody, I don't know if you know this, but there was this statement, was it a year or two ago, about how international students tend to meet the loves of their life at university abroad. And in Europe, this was called Erasmus babies. So loads of people born because their parents met at university. So romance, I like romance. I think that's even better than this was a great degree for my professional career. But is this life? This shouldn't be recorded. Romance, even better. Batana, what was your favorite thing? Did you meet your love of your life?
No, actually, I got my love of my life from India. I kind of got him parceled and I brought him here with myself. I'm very lucky that he was right here with me. He supported me throughout. And I also kind of, unleashed new angles of my love with him because I was always high on anxiety and the way he held me tight during all that time. So half of my achievements and success in my academic goes to him, and apart from just having the ease to have my person right next to me, I think what I enjoyed the most was the amount of space which is provided in the university. If we want to study all by ourselves, we have the reading rooms, we have the special rooms which are quiet, and we can just focus. And if we want to discuss something, then again there is so much space available on the campus. I never felt the need to just stay back home and study. It was the and the whole environment to see other people studying and getting motivated with that. Also the fact that university has really good cafes right inside. So because when we are studying, we tend to get hungry, and they have good proper meals, freshly made, so need not be worried about packing lunches and everything. So I really, really think that those were two very important things.
Is there anything that you wish you would have known before starting? So is there any particular challenges that you didn't have the answer to until you came, or anything that you think that people watching might want to know but be afraid to ask?
Mm, I I would like to point this out to everyone who comes to Glasgow University, is that the university is going to treat you like their baby. and I mean it, because the way I was catered to personally. I developed a condition called as plantar fasciitis. It affects my uh, motor skills, in the sense that I'm not able to walk too much because of that condition. So when I was having problems during my assignments, and I was not able to concentrate because the pain was excruciating. So my university helped me so much. They provided me with stools, they provided me with a special space in the university library, and they also gave me my deadlines were a bit more relaxed. The amount of time which I was supposed to get for writing my exams was, I think, half an hour extra because of my condition. And they also offered me taxi service, which I had said that, that's, yeah, I would not want to use that, because I did have some arrangements to do back and forth to university. But the way I was catered to, I've never seen something like this in my life, and I'm going to be so grateful, and always indebted to university for this. And apart from just studying, the completeness that we are given in the university, we I personally felt that, and I think I shared the sentiment with a lot of other fellow classmates of mine, that if anything bothered us, be it something on the personal side, be it something that we couldn't understand, study, everything was catered by the university. They had cells where you could go speak if you're having anxiety, you're not feeling well, you have mental pressure or anything to do with that, you're not well physically, you can go speak to people. You're not able to understand, you can speak to your professors, and there's so much help. I mean, there is absolutely nothing which the university doesn't cover. So I just want to say and point it out to every student, that if you ever feel that something is stopping you, or you're not able to understand where to go, just go to somebody from LLM inquiries, and they'll be able to help you.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that you are people, you are whole people, and we are here to help you. I think you're there. We're expecting you to work hard on your academics. It's quite an intense program, no matter which one you choose. Quite intense in terms of the work we expect you to do, but at the same time, we try to support you in as many ways as we can. So I think there's this idea that this is we're all in this together, and we're there to help you forward. We're not there to put in barriers or unfairness. So I think that's quite important. Julio, anything you would have liked to know before you started?
That it wasn't so bad. I had my accommodation. I had never been outside of my country for more than 2 weeks before this experience, and I couldn't tell myself this, but I was afraid, and I had my accommodation booked in September. First starting date was the 1st of September. I came in late in mid-October. I was inventing excuses not to move. We still had some issues with COVID at that point, so I did have excuses, but they were excuses, and so I would have come earlier, and I would have tried a little more not to leave. But I'm making up for that time by, of course, coming and visit Scotland every time I can, given the aforementioned personal experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think going abroad is always challenging, and then going abroad and studying in a completely different educational system than you might be used to is challenging. Many of us that are your lecturers, your professors, have gone through a similar experience, so we know what it's like. So I studied somewhere else first. I came from a completely different place, and there is a little bit of fear and sometimes homesickness, and all of that is normal. But I mean, I think speak for many people who do the LLM, that once you go and you study abroad, you get a completely different experience, a different view on the world, and you learn so much more, and you're so much stronger when you then go back home that I think it is worth it. But it is nerve-wracking. I think it's nerve-wracking for anyone. So don't beat yourself up too much. I think we all were there. We all had this kind of experience. I am mindful that we have only a couple of minutes left. If anyone wants to ask a particular question in the chat, go ahead. If there is anything in particular you would like us to go over. I think the most important thing for everyone to do is to kind of look at the program they're gonna want to do, and then look at Scotland and Glasgow and getting here. I think it's daunting. There are a lot of administrative formalities, so many steps to take. Don't let that scare you from the fact that this could be one of the best experiences and one of the best decisions you make for both your professional and your personal development. So if you have any questions, go ahead. And I am gonna ask both of you, whilst you're still here, if you had to do it all over again, would you come back to Glasgow?
I would never leave.
All right. Well, you're always welcome back. And I think the University of Glasgow is very lucky also with having you as alumni. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you.
If no one has any questions, then I think we can probably end it here, but I'll give people 30 seconds, 40 more seconds. There's a question. All right, someone has asked whether we could describe, and I guess this is for both of you, how intense would you as students describe the program, also with regard to time to explore the country? It's a very good question.
I think because we only have 3 subjects every semester, so we do have a lot of time to study and also at the same time explore the country. Scotland is very, very beautiful. It's blessed to be placed geographically, and if you come here, you must explore it. There's no excuse that you don't. So it totally depends on how you want to manage, because what personally I used to do is that I used to start 2 days before my lecture. I used to start reading about that subject. And the other time which I had the day I had my lecture, I wouldn't pick up my books. I would just want to go out and bask in the sun whenever there is, and study or do something else, right in the nature, go out. I have my husband right here with me, so I would go out with him. And even if you don't have a partner, that's not very something that would stop you. You can make so many friends. There are people from all sorts of places, and I do have some really good friends I'm going to take for life. So yeah, it all depends on how you want to manage.
Julio, did you get a chance to explore Scotland?
Well, yes. And contrary to some of the EU countries, some of the continental countries, there is much more time for yourself. So I speak for experience. Working, for instance, whilst studying is a very challenging thing. In Italy, I imagine, and I know for a fact also in some of the major countries in Europe. In the UK, you could work, and that by definition, if you can work and study easily, that means you have no excuse for not visiting the country. Plus, Glasgow is not far off from Edinburgh and from Loch Lomond, and so the possibility is there. Take it.
Yeah. I mean, you can, as you said, you can do some work experience, or you can go and explore the beauty of Scottish nature, and you can go and try to see if you can find the Loch Ness monster, right? Which is a very important thing to do whilst you're in Scotland. Try to find the monster of the lake, right? Anyone have any more questions? You're welcome, Sophie. And if no one has any more questions, I see that my colleagues have popped in a link for you to chat to a student online if you want more one-on-one questions. And otherwise, I hope to see you all at the University of Glasgow for the next years. Thank you all for joining us, and particularly thank you to the two of you for joining us again online.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.